People work for 40 hours a week, 60 hours a week, and some people even work for 80 hours a week to get what? Monthly salary. After all the sweat and the blood during the month, finally at the end of the month, we get salary. For a long time, this message has been my favorite message. Your 1 lakh rupees salary has been credited into your bank account. What happens next? We start spending. Home loan EMI or rent 30,000, car loan EMI 10,000, groceries 25,000 rupees, travel 5,000 rupees, utility bill another 5,000 rupees, Zomato, Swiggy 5,000 rupees, holidays, entertainment around 5,000 rupees, and those hundreds of tiny little UPI transactions adding all up to 3,000 rupees per month. And whatever is left after all of this drama, you invest that into mutual fund SIP 7,000 rupees per month. हो गए पूरे 80, 90, 100, खेल खत्म, पैसा हजम, salary finished. Next day you go to office, work again throughout the month, and again at the end of the month you get your salary. And this cycle continues forever. Until 2 years ago, I used to do exactly same. Every month work very hard to get my monthly salary. But finally, I've managed to put a stop to this monthly cycle. And to be very, very honest, it's taken me at least 7 to 8 years of solid financial planning to come to this stage where I no longer need to rely on my monthly salary. All my past 7 to 8 years of salaries are working for me now. My salary is working for me now. So we need to change this narrative from working for salary to let the salary work for you. How to do this? All my learnings in this video step by step. Before I start, big shout out to the partners of this video, Vint Wealth, wonderful platform for corporate bonds. More about corporate bonds later in the video. If you want to stop working for salary and want your salary to work for you, there are broadly 3 steps that we are going to follow. And I'm going to walk you through all the 3 steps in an extremely simple language. Step number 1, measure your personal cash flow. What you need to do is download your last 1 year's bank statement, send it to your CA so that they can upload it in a software. If you don't have a CA friend, then hire one CA. You absolutely need a CA. Ask your CA to produce one statement that will have 3 columns. Column number 1 is having all your income listed down, which is monthly average income. Include your salary, include your bonuses, include your dividend income, anything that you've got throughout the year, get all of that added on a monthly average basis. Moving to column number 2, which is all your expenses. Broadly categorize your expenses into categories. For example, home loan EMIs or your rent, car loan EMIs or any other EMIs that are running on your account. Also groceries, travel, utility bills, Zomato, Swiggy, entertainment, your holidays, your 300 plus UPI transactions that gets bucketed into miscellaneous. Get a good grip of all your expenses on a monthly average basis. And then third column, the most important column, all your investments. If you're doing any SIPs, if you're doing any lump sum investments, get an average investment, average monthly investment out there so that you understand what is your personal cash flow, where is the money coming from, where is it getting spent, and where is it getting invested. Once you've got your personal cash flow ready, move to step number 2, which is extremely important, where we are going to calculate investment to income ratio. II ratio. For example, let's say your average monthly income is 1 lakh rupees and your average monthly investments are 10,000 rupees. Your investment to income ratio is 10,000 divided by 1 lakh rupees, 10%. Now this is where either the problem will lie or the opportunity will lie. If your investment to income ratio is very low, for example 5%, 8%, 10%, you've got a problem. You have to sort this problem out, because what we want is this ratio to reach to 50%. 60%. We need to take this ratio higher than 50% at some point in time. Why? Because this investment is what is going to bring monthly salary to you so that you don't need to work for monthly salary ever again. So your first goal is to bring this ratio to 50%. In my personal case, currently this ratio is at around 90%, meaning 90% of my income gets invested. And to be honest, this has not happened overnight. I've taken at least 7 to 8 years to get to where I am today. Now, how can this ratio go beyond 50%? For this, 2 things need to happen. Number 1, your average monthly income needs to go very high. If it is currently at 1 lakh rupees, next year it needs to go up to, let's say, 1,30,000. Following year, it needs to go by, let's say, 1,50,000. Next year, it needs to go by, let's say, 1,80,000. The salary or the income number continuously need to go up. And then comes the second point, which is your expenses. Your expenses need to remain stable. You have to one time clean it up. Make sure you're not spending too much, but please also make sure that you're living your life comfortably. You cannot really cut down on your coffees or your teas or whatever. Many influencers have talked about if you stop consuming coffee and put that money into SIP, then you're going to get 10 crores, 100 crores or whatever. I do not believe in that narrative. My narrative is very, very simple, that there is a limit to cutting down your expenses. But at the same time, you need to start looking into your expenses one time so that you can find leakage and you can stop that leakage so that you're living frugally but comfortably. And of course, every year your expenses will go up, but they need to only go up by the inflation rate. You cannot really let your expenses go up in the same proportion in the proportion of your income. That is a recipe for disaster. So once you get a good grip on increasing your income and keeping your expenses constant, naturally your investments will go up. Your investment to income ratio will start to go up into 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. Believe me or not, this is exactly what I did in the last 7 to 8 years. 2018, my salary was around 65,000 pounds. I used to work in UK. 2020, my salary went up to 75,000 pounds a year. 2021, my salary went up to 85,000 pounds every year. And in 2023, something big happened. My salary went up to 1,80,000 pounds every year because I quit my permanent job and I started doing contracting in UK. Ask those people who understand about UK contract and they will tell you exactly how huge the opportunities were a couple of years back. But this sudden jump from 85,000 to 1,80,000 was not overnight. It was not even a 1 year's effort. Throughout last 5 to 7 years, I've been putting so much of effort in my job. Every single year I was upskilling, be it my communication skills, be it my hard skills, be it my job searching skills. Everything put together, 5 or 7 years later, I saw that huge, massive jump. Was it easy? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Was it risk-free? Absolutely not. Leaving my permanent job, moving into a contracting world, it was scary like hell. I was blessed to have reached to a situation where my investment to income ratio went up to 90% as of now. And this is where I no longer work for salary now. I've stopped working for monthly salaries. My last 5 to 7 years salaries are now working for me as they are all invested in various assets. With this, now we move to step number 3, which is acing your investments. There is a framework that I personally love and I always speak about it, which is 50, 25, 25, meaning 50% of your income can be spent provided 25% of this income is invested for your short-term goals and remaining 25% is invested for your long-term goals. Short-term goals are those goals that you want to fulfill within the next 3 years. It could be, for example, buying a house, or it could be wedding expenses, or it could be holidaying abroad. That might be your one-time goal. So any goal that you want to fulfill in the next 3 years, that comes into short-term goals category. And anything that you want to achieve, which is a longer-term horizon, for example, your financial freedom planning, for example, kids' education, kids' wedding, all that moves into your long-term goals. Let me now first speak about the short-term goals. The key question is where to invest when it comes to short-term goals, which are up to 3 years. And in my view, I love corporate bonds for short-term goals. Why? There are a few reasons. Let me explain to you. Reason number 1 is that if you go to Wintwealth's platform, you will find here corporate bonds that are delivering net returns, also called YTM, yield to maturity, anywhere between 9 to 12% per annum. Secondly, if you look at the duration of these bonds, it varies between 3 months to 18 months. Thirdly, if you look at the minimum investment required in these corporate bonds, it could be as low as 1,000 rupees, maybe 10,000 rupees or 1 lakh. So you can pick and choose depending on your investment appetite. One of the key features of these bonds is the periodic cash flow or payment in terms of the interest. It could be quarterly, it could be monthly depending on the bond term. But the key point here is that you can get monthly cash flow or quarterly cash flow depending on the bond term. Now coming to online bond platforms, I personally like Wintwealth. All the NBFC bonds that you see listed on Wintwealth's platform, Wintwealth themselves invest 2% in those bonds, meaning they follow through a rigorous selection process for these bonds to ensure that they themselves are confident about these bonds. Now, if you're new to bond investing, I've created 2 videos on my channel. And if you watch these 2 videos, you will become 90% clear in terms of what are the risks involved in bond, what are the sort of the returns you can expect from these bonds and everything in between. The link to Wintwealth platform is in the description or in the pinned comments. With this, let's now move to remaining 25% to be invested for your long-term goals. And the problem with the long-term goals is that a lot of people get the approach for long-term goals totally wrong. They're totally confused. Let me take an example here to break it down in an extremely simple language. I'm going to take an example of financial freedom goal, which is a long-term goal. And I really hope, I sincerely hope that you have set up a financial freedom goal for yourself. If you haven't done it, humble request you to do it now. Do it today, because financial freedom goal is needed. It is a must have. It is not about retirement. It is not about enjoying your life on a beach somewhere in Goa. That's not about it. Financial freedom, the day you hit, you're going to be able to choose what type of job do you want to do? What type of work do you want to do? What type of timing you want to do? Whether you want to work in Gurgaon or whether you want to work somewhere in Goa. That is the choice that it will allow you to make. It is not about retirement. So please make sure you have a goal about financial freedom. Now, coming to financial freedom goal, step number one, simple step is to have a number in the mind and do not complicate it. A lot of people use thumb rules like multiply your annual expenses by 25. These rules do not work. These are very, very broad thumb rules. You have to sit down and plan out your own life. Again, I can't really talk about that in this video. The video is going to get really, really lengthy. I might create a separate video where I'll show you exactly how I have calculated and approached my financial freedom, which I plan to achieve by 2030. Separate topic for some other day. But for the simplicity of the discussion, let us now assume that your financial freedom number is 4 crores and you want to hit it in the next 20 years. This is just an example so that I can show you the right approach. Now, for you to be able to hit this financial freedom goal of 4 crores in next 20 years, there are 3 options. Option number 1, at 10% CAGR return, you need to invest around 55,000 rupees per month. Option number 2, 14% CAGR, you need to have 34,000 rupees per month invested for next 20 years. And option number 3, at 18% CAGR returns, you need only 21,000 rupees per month. Now, a lot of people, once you try and work out this math, will realize that you need to choose a path here. Let us say that you choose 18% CAGR path because you only have 21,000 rupees per month. But the key question is, can you really generate 18% CAGR in the next 20 years? Or yes, you can. Of course, it is not impossible. For that, what do you need to do? You need to learn stocks. Stocks are the strong candidate to be able to generate that much of CAGR, which is 18%. Believe me or not, generating 18% CAGR for 20 years is not a cakewalk. It is extremely hard. It is extremely difficult. And let us say that you're not interested in stocks or you don't have the skills to invest in stocks. What do you do then? You adjust your path. You might go down to 14% CAGR option, but you might struggle with 34,000 rupees per month EMI. In that case, what do? You readjust your goal. You recalibrate your goal. You don't stick with 4 crores. You don't start with 4 crore here because A, you do not have the skills to be able to generate 18% CAGR. Therefore, do not make a mistake of investing in stocks because you don't really understand stocks, right? Go with something which is manageable. Go with something that is comfortable to you. Do not follow others. If somebody is making 20% CAGR in one particular year and you think you can emulate this for next 18 years or 20 years, you are going to fail there. Please make sure you choose your weapons very, very wisely. Let us say that you stick with 14% CAGR and you only want to have 21,000 rupees per month of investment done. In that case, your goal from 4 crores need to be brought down to 2.5 crores roughly in 20 years of time. Now, of course, this is not what you started with, but that's okay. You can adjust, recalibrate this goal in the next 20 years. There will be enough opportunities where you might have surplus funds coming your way. If you make sure that your income goes up, your expenses remain constant, then you might be able to put more money. But please make sure you do not play with the returns here. Extremely, extremely dangerous game that I've seen people doing it and they have been failing at it miserably. Stick to your weapons that you think you can deliver comfortable life, comfortable investment life. Now you may ask me, Rahul, what are the good long-term assets that you look to invest? I think everybody knows about the long-term assets. In my view, there are 4 long-term assets. Number 1, of course, Indian equities. Number 2, US equities. Number 3, precious metals like gold and silver. And finally, unlisted stocks. Very, very few chosen selected unlisted stocks. And you need to understand the game of unlisted stocks before you invest in unlisted stocks. Otherwise, it could be really, really dangerous. But more than assets, what is really important is asset allocation. For example, right now you may say that 80% of my allocation should be Indian equities right now, 20% in US equities, 0% in gold and silver, longer because they are all-time high or whatever is the reason. And finally, 0% in unlisted stocks. 2 years down the line, you might say that, you know what, Indian equities allocation needs to come down to 60%. My US allocation needs to go up to 30% and gold needs to be 10%. Unlisted stocks, nothing yet. 4 years down the line, you might say my Indian equity allocation needs to be 20% only. US equity allocation might be 40% and remaining goes into unlisted stocks, nothing on gold and silver. Point is very, very simple, that your asset allocation might change depending on the asset cycle that you are able to spot. A lot of content is out there on internet where you can learn about these assets so that you understand the broader macro trends of these assets. For example, on my channel itself, I've created a lot of videos on Indian equities. Particularly go and watch these videos. You are going to learn a lot. For US equities also, I've started creating few videos now. Go and watch and learn about US equities. For gold and silver, again, I've created few videos. My point is very, very simple. You go and invest your time in learning about the investments, the long-term investments. And I can tell you that if you put your time right, you are going to excel and ace these investments in the coming years. And soon the time will come where you are no longer working for salary, monthly salary. Your monthly salary starts to work for you. We got to change this narrative and let the salary work for you. My final point, for short-term investments, explore Vint Wealth, a wonderful platform for corporate bonds. The link is in the description and in the pinned comments. I look forward to see you in my next video. Until then, keep rocking.
Investments in debt securities, municipal debt securities, securitized debt instruments are subject to risks, including delay and/or default in payment. Read all the offer-related documents carefully.